Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Japan for his 8th visit to the country. Along with his Japanese counterpart, Shigeru Ishiba, Prime Minister Modi will hold the 15th India-Japan Annual Summit on Friday. The two Prime Ministers will review the special strategic and global partnership between India and Japan, which includes defense and security, trade and economy, technology and innovation, and people-to-people exchanges. Apart from this, Prime Minister Modi and Japanese counterpart will discuss issues of regional and global importance in times of global tariff tensions. Meanwhile, the Japan-US trade talks scheduled for this week have come to a grinding halt as Japan's topmost trade negotiator, Ryoshi Akazawa, has cancelled his visit to the United States of America. Now let's understand why Prime Minister Modi's Japan trip is strategically so important. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that the annual summit between the two countries represents the highest level of dialogue mechanism that exists between India and Japan. Not just this, Japanese investment is aligned with India's long-term priorities of Make in India, Digital India, Startup India, and renewable energy. This alignment gives the partnership greater durability. Japanese finances power metro projects in many Indian cities. Modi and Ishiba will travel to Sendai, a city known for its semiconductors, in a bullet train. Among the topics on the agenda will be Japan's participation in future bullet train projects in India beyond the Ahmedabad-Mumbai corridor.
This is indeed emerged as an important pillar of cooperation between the two countries in recent years. There was a meeting between the defense ministers of the two countries that was held just recently in May of this year, where the two sides were able to review a whole host of issues, operational engagements between the two sides. There was a reference also to space. So the ISRO and the Japanese Space Agency are working together on something called LUPEX, which is the Lunar Polar Exploration Mission, and this is being pursued in tandem with India's Chandrayaan-5 mission.
India and Japan, we have excellent relationship. We have excellent political relationship, business relationship, and of course, people-to-people connect. If you go in this country, any part of this country, you will see an India connect, any part of this country. So we have a very solid base on which we are building our relationship. 10 years back, in 2014, Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi and the then Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Abe, entered into an agreement, a special strategic and global partnership for India-Japan relationship. We have, in the last more than 10 years, working towards building that partnership, and we can see that there is significant progress in every element of that relationship.
As Prime Minister Modi embarks on his visit, the focus will be on platforms of global leadership, targeted Japanese investment in semiconductors, defense electronics, and rare earth technologies that can secure a shared technological future. Joint ventures in hydrogen, offshore wind, and battery storage can position both countries at the forefront of the global green transition. Building diversified supply chains will allow building of resilient trade architectures, while joint research hubs in AI, quantum computing, and robotics can anchor India and Japan firmly in the digital industrial revolution. India and Japan will also explore synergies on cybersecurity, trusted data flows, and setting global standards that ensure innovation thrives without compromising sovereignty. Beyond economics, the financial and human linkages need strengthening. Expanding yen-based swap arrangements and portfolio flows can create new sovereign financial choices. Language training, student mobility, cultural exchange, and industry-linked training programs for Indian youth in Japan can fuse demographic strength with industrial needs, forging a living partnership across generations. So, the larger question is, can New Delhi-Tokyo partnership buffer tariff standoff with the United States of America? What makes India-Japan relationship unique? And on this, I'm joined by our esteemed guests, Ambassador Deepak Vora, former Indian diplomat, S.C. Garg, former Finance and Economic Affairs Secretary, Professor Swaran Singh, Center for International Politics, JNU, and Professor Rajan Kumar, Center for Russian and Central Asian Studies. Thank you all of you for joining me. Let me straight away go to Mr. Garg. Mr. Garg, we have had historical ties with Japan from Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, that's number one. And India not accepting the Treaty of San Francisco of 51, which actually ended the World War II for Japan, which got executed in 1952, because we believe that it compromises the sovereignty of Japan as a nation. But that is past. What does this visit in terms of finance, economics and trade, sir, hold for India?
See, the context for this visit is very different. We have had the Trump tariff problems. Japan has entered into a deal with Trump, but we have not been able to do it. So that is one very major sort of difference in approach about how to deal with the Trump tariffs. Secondly, we are in a way competing for retaining the fourth largest economy is space. Japan is fourth, currently India is fifth. We are set to overtake. Japan is not growing for last 35 years. India has been growing. Whether we'll outpace Japan this year or the next year would be also an interesting dimension. The third thing which I think I would point out is that Prime Minister Modi and the Japanese leadership, especially up to Abe's time, had very ambitious agreements and projects to work out. This Mumbai-Ahmedabad rail, high-speed rail is one such thing. I was party to those negotiations in 2018-19, when Prime Minister was sort of pressing the Japanese to make sure that this train comes to operate by August 2022. It has not been done, so it is already 3 years late. There's some more time going to take into this. So we have excellent relationships. Lastly, I think one more, the Japanese are a major investor in India, but Japanese are not very major sort of consumers of Indian products. And therefore, what is a surplus coming out from America is unlikely to be absorbed into into Japan. So in this backdrop, let us see how and what kind of solutions and forward linkages are brought into this visit.
Okay. Your opening comments, Professor Swaran Singh, how do you look at this visit, sir?
I think very clearly on the mind of Indian Prime Minister, and to great extent, I think also on the mind of Prime Minister Ishiba, will be the tariff challenge that is writ large. And therefore, when they are negotiating cooperation in various sectors of either trade or investments, I think they will be exploring opportunities where they can kind of, sort of increase trade in those sectors which are immediately impacted by the tariffs by President Trump. Second, both are also very clearly, entrenched in the regional security and stability, and see China as their shared challenge for almost, I think, 2 to 3 decades now. And the way President Trump is kind of assuaging the Chinese leaders by keeping them aside when showing his anger for India purchasing Russian oil could also be something that would come up for discussion as to if President Trump is kind of not really showing greater interest in either Quad or in Indo-Pacific in general, then what are the other ways where India and Japan can, of course, work together. And then several bilateral issues where, whether it is expanding the bullet train beyond the one project that we have to take it to other cities to connect, or other major concerns about artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and so on. Technology will be another, I think, area in general, if I have to say.
But Professor Swaran Singh, you see, it is not something which can go unnoticed. The principal negotiator from Japan with the United States of America on trade has cancelled his visit.
Yes, I think those are the hiccups, and that is exactly what I'm underlining, which is so disruptive in international relations now, and which is where the old timers like India and Japan, who have stood together for almost 25 years now with regular summit meetings, as to whether they can ensure certain amount of stability and balancing. I think if you remember, Prime Minister is going to Tianjin from there, and how to make sure that the Quad is showcased as an entity which is not entirely America-led and will not be kind of singing American tunes, but would be looking at the larger regional security and stability. And I think that is going to be the focus at the regional level. And of course, in bilateral terms, technology transfers investments are going to be spoken of, and $69 billion is already in the reports.
Okay.
Is going to be on the table this time.
Okay, Professor Rajan Kumar, your opening comments quickly, sir.
No, I think this is very important from India's perspective. Two countries are extremely important from foreign policy and geostrategic perspective. One is, of course, Russia, and the second one is Japan, and that's why you have the annual summit format with both the countries.